Should we open the floor?
Yes, please do.
Is there a way that the big issue becomes the bank per se, and that I am a purchaser of it and I scan a QR code and make that payment like I did in the Monzo, and it's associated with the vendor. The vendor comes and collects the money from the big issue.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned at the beginning that there's now a huge number of other international trade papers across the globe. I think there's over 120 now that basically follow the same model as the big issue over the last 30 years. Some of which, many of which are embarking on, obviously it's got exactly the same kind of challenges, and some of which have taken that approach to it. Now, from our perspective, it is something we've got to be delicate and careful about, just given the fact that our relationship with our vendors is very much, they are our customer. And so from a sort of HMRC perspective and so forth, in terms of just ensuring that there's a very clear kind of status between sort of, i.e. non-workers or non-employees, and they're very much running their own enterprise. So if there's a way that we can overcome that sort of hurdle, then I think we'd be open to exploring all the different variety of different opportunities and solutions to it. From a technology perspective, there are a number of other organisations that we're talking to, but we're actively seeking other kind of key strategic partnerships that can help basically work this sort of solution for us, because we know that the IZETL is just, as you say, the sort of the barriers of entry is quite high, so it's only going to work.
And also the barriers of use. When you mentioned the not realising Wi-Fi dropping, and my wife was buying a coat at a street market the other day, and the guy couldn't get his eye settled. Couldn't connect, and he was a young guy that's relatively tech savvy and had been using it for his business, and you're relying on a vendor that's could be empowered with knowledge, but the scale that can be tough and difficult.
We have the ambition there. We're actively sort of talking to a number of organisations at the moment that are applying basically either QR code or NFC sort of technology in order to make that payment. It's all done through the user's smartphone and so forth.
Yeah, it's putting the onus on the person purchasing basically instead of the onus on the vendor.
And the key for us is just making sure, the journey of that cash and how quickly an individual can get hold of it, basically. Because as you can imagine, a lot of our vendors are very much living kind of hand to mouth, and it's very much on a day-to-day kind of basis that they need that cash that they've earned. So to wait 72 hours for it to clear is not ideal for. I mean, it's fine for some of the more stable vendors that we do have, and we've got, on average, we have, I don't know if we mentioned, but about 1,500 vendors selling the big issue at any one time. At Christmas time, that goes closer to 3,000.
Is it worth talking to the post office, because I know they obviously.
Yeah, we are.
You are. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about their payout service, where you could also redeem a coupon through text that they can then go out and
collect.
So we are.
Okay.
So
Okay. Sorry, it was just my head thinks that.
Perfect. Thank you. Exactly.
So is the pay it forward rolled out now? Is it completely rolled out?
No, so it was a pilot phase to do some testing and some learning from, and we're in more conversations with Monzo around how we can grow from that, what else that platform can offer, and how we can build on it really.
But as you said, in an ideal scenario, what we found is that actually what would benefit us, because the pay it forward exercise was quite a costly one to sustain internally as well, in terms of the collateral and resources required. But now we've got that kind of partnership in place with kind of Monzo. We've got that kind of back end to it that's being built. Ultimately, if we can find a way that actually can create more opportunities for our vendors to sell additional products and services, whether they almost kind of act as affiliates to sell a subscription. So if someone wants to take a subscription for the magazine, or whether it is selling products to the big issue shop, if someone wants to buy, a pair of jeans or whatever it is, but actually ultimately there's that ambition that the big issue, so through the pay it forward sort of mechanic,
Yeah.
you could be the sort of the contactless kind of the solution.
So also that can lead to driving your digital adoption, because if they were given a unique, so you purchase it off the vendor, but you don't take a physical copy, but you get a unique code that then unlocks digital content for you online.
There's loads of different opportunities around all of these things.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest challenges is helping to educate the vendor to really understand how to talk about the project and about how that works, and have the confidence to talk to their customers so that they benefit from it. So there's sort of, what could it look like? This is exciting, there's loads of ambition around this. How do we tell Hugh that and get Hugh to understand how to articulate that to his customers?
And I suppose it's better if you are educating the focus on the sale than you are on how to use the technology for taking payment, which is why I think there's other
Even
options.
on the simplest level, the pay it forward, as well as increasing potential revenue, it increases engagement. That person who's bought that and taken away, at least a fraction of the time, they're going to go and then talk to somebody else about it and try and sell it. So rather than buying it, reading it, and forgetting it, it perpetuates, being discussed about it.
It's in my company, in the SaaS model, we have a referral marketing, and our strongest voice is our existing customers, and encourage them to refer us. We have to sweeten the deal somehow with like Amazon gift vouchers or something like that, but that encourages they get codes. So if someone signs up to our service, they get Amazon voucher sent to them. So referral is what you're saying is probably the most strongest way to get that moving forward.
Colin, so did you have a question?
Yeah, how much are you paying for how much are your vendors paying for the device, the iZettle device?
So the iZettle mouse, they retail around £30, but the vendors now can buy them for £9.
Can they?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And we do have, through our foundation, we have something called the Vendor Support Fund. So if a vendor, they could get the reader for £9, but then they need to pay £60 for a smartphone that'll work. So we've got, through our Vendor Support Fund, if a vendor saves up some money in savings with us, we'll then match fund that.
Is it reduced transaction fees on it, or?
They provide us with a reduced fee. And so, it is about how we're utilising technology to extend and enhance that stakeholder value as well, and that value proposition, both from a vendor perspective, but also for those organisations as well, for those third parties, because we are a weekly publication that has significant reach. We really do cut through mainstream media with these campaigns. So for organisations that also want to be associated with a very positive, authentic kind of cause, and we can utilise the big issue as a means to really articulate and communicate how a technology organisation is able to help tackle this problem.
I mean, iZettle was a huge example of that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a really, really powerful kind of, and then we created sort of bespoke content on behalf of iZettle as part of that package, as well as the press release. That's the key with the big issue. It really does kind of cut through mainstream kind of press. So when we release a release around this, it gets into hundreds of millions kind of quite quickly in terms of total kind of reach and so forth. So it's again from an iZettle perspective, and where they are at the moment, it was a hugely powerful and important partnership.
What's the average sales for one reseller a day?
Yeah. Average across the country about 50 to 55, isn't it?
Do you mean resales? Do you mean resales of pay it forward, or an actual vendor normal sale?
Just normal sale.
Yeah,
Just normal.
Yeah, so 50 a week. 50 a week. 50 a week. 55. 50 to 55 a week.
Pounds or papers?
No, papers. Yeah.
Right. And how much do they get for each paper?
£1.25. So but obviously there's a large spread. I mean, we have got some vendors that will sell in excess of 300, 400 magazines a week.
But part of the challenge you have is that people begging can often get more than that, can't they? So it's hard to reinforce the positive behaviour sometimes.
Exactly. It's trying to kind of we've got a massive it's a massive job on our hands to try and almost like tackle almost like the wider public perceptions of what the big issue is, how it works, and then obviously tackle those stereotypes and so forth.
But I think those partnerships with the likes of Monzo and ISET will give you another type of credibility, because they have a lot of obviously marketing power in their own right, so they're getting an advantage by working with you guys, but I think you guys are getting an advantage as well.
But I think you guys have a massive advantage over. So some of us on this panel have been involved in some workshops around alternative giving and about the general issue of people not wanting to give cash to people who are begging. And you guys were pioneers in one,
what
giving,
is
alternative giving. And because you're so well known, you instantly get credibility. I think if people are more than happy to do contactless payment to somebody who's in a big issue best with which if we found some way to give beggars the ability to take, then you're not going to do that, are you, so much, so your brand and your, the how broad the awareness is of what you guys do and the positivity around that really gives you, if you can then leverage the technology as well, you might give your vendors a step forward ahead of other alternatives.
Is there any consideration in kind of, so obviously you broke down your regional areas, and digital skills is obviously a key area for that, and you'd mentioned depending on who was the lead, is that correct, for the vendors in that particular area, really depended on how much knowledge share happened. Is there any scope that you guys are looking at, like a big issue school or technology, regional schools or training?
For the staff?
For staff, and also obviously starting with staff first, because then the knowledge trickles out from there. But, kind of regional digital training centres or something, I don't know. Is there any scope of that, or am I asking questions that are already been explored?
No. But I mean, yes. I mean, we very much have that ambition.
Yeah.
We see the value in that, and the necessity for us to. We have to invest. We have to invest in this area. Because actually, what it comes back to as well is how, because of the stigma that's attached to selling the big issue, how do we? Because given that now we are competing against many other potential kind of gig economy sectors and so forth, and actually we'll have people that have gone off to become Uber drivers or delivery people, but actually at Christmas time they may come back to sell the big issue magazine, because actually it is kind of more lucrative as well. So it's one of those areas where for us it's about how do we ensure we're seen as a relevant and valuable proposition, because that whole area has developed and changed so much. And actually, for us, the financial inclusion play is a really important part, because if we can become that, what you kind of started setting out, and actually we are known almost as an authority in that kind of space, or the experts in that field, that the big issue, they do financial inclusion really well for some of the most vulnerable people in society. Then actually, when it comes to how do we attract other individuals that could benefit, because of that stigma, there's plenty of people out there that very much benefit from selling the big issue magazine. They may be sofa surfing, they may be in some temporary accommodation, they may have all sorts of drug or alcohol dependencies and so forth, but there may be the sort of attitude of I may be this, I may be that, but I'm not that bad. I'm not willing to go out there and put the red tabard on and stand out on the high street and sell the big issue. And that's kind of what we're playing against. But through these strategic partnerships, and the benefit we get from aligning our brand with those other, as I say, kind of really credible organisations in that space, as well as genuinely evolving and innovating within the business, because as I say at the beginning, 30 years ago, it was a huge innovation in terms of so it's like, how do we continue to maintain those kind of values of innovating to tackle these societal problems? And for us, it's about increasing that value proposition for a vendor to make it more of a really relevant proposition for them. And I think that financial inclusion work is key to that, and the strategic partnerships are key to that.
And that area is something that if we had more resource and more ability to deliver focused work, like training and coaching around, and coaching that's practical as well and relevant. So it's not, here's a GCSE exam, off you go. It's okay,
real life.
how can we connect you to your family
Yeah.
back from where you're from via social media? Oh, while you're engaging with technology, have you got an email address? Right, let's help you with that. Have you got a bank account? Let's help you with that. So we need to have people who are confident in doing that, have built strong partnerships with the relevant people who can either help us learn how to deliver that support better, or help us fund how to deliver that support better. So it's twofold.
Is there any partner training schools? Like what you've done at ISETL and Monzo. It's not an area that I'm familiar with, but is there any?
There are partners.
Regional
So
schools?
there's like the Good Things Foundation who do a lot around digital inclusion. So we are in talks with Good Things Foundation, and various different partners who can help us look at, see what that would look like. But it's about having enough people to deliver it as well, because you could have the most tech savvy, best trained people in the world, but if you've only got one of them and they're trying to do 50 other things as well, it's the resource element as well. So there's lots of different things for us to think about. But I think the big issue is a financial inclusion offer. Like that's our USP. We give people who have no money the chance to earn money on day one. So we're already doing financial inclusion, but there's so much more we could be doing in this space and want to do in this space. That
I think it's going back to what you said, and if you become a vendor, the big issue can help you with this and this. It's kind of it's like the suite of products nearly. I will help you get your identity sorted. We'll help you get a bank account with Monzo. We'll get you set up with being able to take payments with ISETL. That kind of package of what
and then
we
it's about
offer.
and then it kind of that informs the storytelling. When we start telling those stories and the case studies, and there's very powerful examples that you've seen three of. That really helps. And it helps engage and the other people that could really benefit from our organisation as well. So early next year, in the spring, we're launching a new area of business called the Big Community, which is essentially an articulation of how we're working with strategic partners to enhance that value stakeholder proposition. And it's a commercially driven model. And so therefore, as a member of the Big Community, its sponsorship will be raised as sponsorship kind of packages. And as a membership, member of that Big Community, that will go directly to fund the development and growth of key programs such as financial inclusion as well. So I'll be in touch about that in the new year.
All right.
Very good.
Last offer, any other
That's one question. Obviously it gives people a really great helping hand in difficult circumstances. But I can imagine people getting to a position where they're stabilising their life. Is there any evidence of people actually being trapped at a point where they've got enough to stabilise themselves but can't then move on? Or how does the BCIT help get people beyond that?
So, we work a lot with other partners. So we have good relationships with different employers, and we're trying to build our employer network, basically, of people who are willing to give our vendors the opportunity to move into employment with them. So we're doing some stuff with the Pratt Foundation, and we're looking to build that a bit further. Some of it will be bespoke, so once we find out what that vendor's interested in. So for example, there's a vendor in Cardiff, she's quite interested in hospitality, she's quite interested in healthy eating, so we've now linked her in. So she's been on barista training with a coffee shop that we're happy to do a bit of that with her. She went and did some work experience with a housing association to just do all different types of the roles that they offer there, from going out on the vans with some of the people who do the different repairs, to understand some of the admin roles, to understand how invoicing works. So she got a really broad understanding of how that business worked. And then she's just gone into employment with a local vegan cafe, and she's working part-time with them, and hopefully that'll increase and go into full-time after Christmas. So there's lots of different small relationships we have with local employers and businesses who are willing to give vendors the opportunity. But the larger national partnerships we can build around that, obviously offer a lot more volume and a lot more opportunities for people.
Well, I think the key is, as you said, is around trying to create an ecosystem of opportunity, really, for actually, for a new vendor coming to us, there is more than just beyond. If they so wish to engage with that, because actually, just on that point, we have career vendors. We have a book of vendors that you've probably seen in various high streets that have been selling the magazine for 10, 15, 20 years. But, for those individuals, by selling the big issue, that has created that sense of kind of purpose and some structure to their lives, and has allowed them to largely keep on the straight and narrow and give some stability in their life. And actually, those individuals, obviously mental health plays a huge part in the issues around homelessness, and well over sort of 40% are affected with mental health issues. And so some individuals, they're not destined to go and get a job in Sainsbury's or Barclays Bank as a cashier or what have you. And for us, it's still working. The big issue hasn't, because obviously that's some people will come to us and read it away. Well, hold on a second. The big issue is it's not working. Why is my local vendor still selling the magazine? He's been there for sort of 10 years. Well, actually, if that's what it's required to keep them in that sort of more stable place, then it is. But for anyone, and we're obviously proactively looking to creating those services and support. Obviously, the Big Issue Foundation was established in 1994, so very, very soon after the launch of the magazine. And so it's always been about sort of signposting to the appropriate services to move them forward into more kind of stable work and more stable lives. But as the business evolves and how we're developing it at the moment, it's very much about that's at the heart of it, in terms of identifying key strategic relationships and partnerships that allow us to create that ecosystem of opportunity for a vendor. And we've got many case studies where individuals, as Beth's just kind of mentioned, and we've had employability programs in partnerships. So we, for instance, a football club, Southampton Football Club, we created a special edition for them and around their foundation and the work they're doing in the local community. And as a result, we had an employability program for our local vendors, and 3 vendors now completed that, and now one of them is a full-time employee at St Mary's Stadium, and 2 of them work around match day. So there's some really powerful kind of stories and genuine change that we've been an agent in through these kind of key strategic partnerships.
So, last question then. What can the Worshipful Company of Information Technologists do for you?
Wow.
How do you think you could?
You're not allowed to spin it back and forth. Do you guys have, because I'd be interested if you did, do you have a digital panel that external advisors can be involved in?
We don't currently, and that's something that's very interesting.
Because that would be something that I'd be willing to give my time to, and I have done for Centrepoint.
Okay.
So I worked in big data analysis for youth homelessness and Centrepoint, and they had a panel where they brought in external advisors that were willing to give their time, and I was one of others.
And what did that look like?
In what sense? Sorry.
What did you do? When you were there, what would you actually?
So there's a lot of open data sets that you can take, and you basically, what we were looking at was specific in regards to youth homelessness and females, and looking for trends to identify and prevent that homelessness happening prior to it. So it was taking a lot of different open data sets and bringing that into a dashboard, and then looking for trends within that to then influence strategies for prevention or to reduce the potential for youth homelessness amongst females. Because there's, I'm not going to go into detail, graphic detail, but there's a lot of reasons, not just mental health, but sexual abuse, etc., that females are much more at risk of. But there's a lot of open data sets that we could take that potentially give a picture of how to prevent that.
That's interesting as well, because part of this work we've been doing, and we've put together a financial inclusion strategy, which we're hoping to roll out fully in the new year. And there's 4 different aims, 4 things about improving the quality and quantity of robust data that we're getting and regular data, because as an organisation we're not great at data collection, because we don't have to report to vendors, we're a social enterprise, so we don't gather data saying, we've helped this many vendors get into this, we've just been doing it. And that's something we're learning to do now, and this has been quite new. So a lot of the statistics I've referred to about vendors, this is really exciting stuff for us, and it's new, and I'm a massive nerd for data now, I love it. But we need to get better at that. And we've got Salesforce, we use Salesforce, and but it's new. We're still learning how it all works and how we can interact with it. But I feel quite passionately about intelligence-led, like taking data. There's no point in us partnering with a bank if 80% of our vendors have got bank accounts. So using that data to have an intelligence-led
This initiative never got going, and there's a group of us that had willing to put our time in, and there was the initial findings and exploration, and it's going back and easy 4 or 5 years ago, and I think at the time too, it was maybe a bit too far forward, but that's what that whole concept of having a panel or something that advisors with different skill sets could come in.
I think for me to answer your question, for me to answering the question that I answered.
So what was that?
So there is a couple of ways. I mean, we're helping you already because we are doing an IT health check, and there's 2 ways that the panel tends to help people. You've got, and we're here to try and use technology to combat homelessness or the threat of it, and that can mean that we do things, we lend resources and skills to help with general IT issues, which is more like the IT health check that we do for you. Our Wi-Fi is rubbish in our office, can you help? Yes we can, we can get somebody to come and advise. That is it's coincidental that you're in the sector that we're interested in. It's a generic IT issue, but everybody has them, because every office and venture. So that is some way, and we are helping you in that respect. The example we just talked there about the data is the less frequent but maybe more interesting example of where we can try and help foster innovative use of technology to address your sector, which is some of the great examples you've given in the presentation today. And it might not be today, but tomorrow or next year, come back to us if you want a big data expert and you don't know where to go. I think the panel is maybe a great idea. We might have, if you have a more ongoing thing, if you wanted to broaden your financial inclusion to be digital inclusion as well, because they're so intertwined.
That is it. When we refer to the financial inclusion strategy, that is a
digital.
They are too intrinsically linked to not be together.
So maybe we can help with some just brains from the area in injecting into that. But that's the exciting bit, is when you find innovative ways of doing contact us when you couldn't before, or those kind of things, and or maybe when you try and cross into more digital media, and that might give you some challenges, etc. So, good. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Those details.
Yes. Well, we've got them and we can share them. So, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
We've got a housekeeping, which I will keep to a minimum.